And now, please welcome to the stage, UAW President Shawn Fain.
All right, man. All right. Hey, Bill. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Yes. UAW, 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 UAW. You know, every time I hear that song, Not Afraid, that was my anthem, just so you know, when I ran for this position. And it's been my anthem for us in that stand-up strike. That's what it's all about. And I can tell you right now, we sent a message, the working class is not afraid, but you know who is afraid? The billionaire class, because they're afraid we're coming, and we're coming for our fair share. Good afternoon, UAW family. Good afternoon. You know, as we near the end of our CAP conference, first of all, I want to thank all of you. Thank you all for being here, for being focused and doing what you do, because now we know what our marching orders are. You know, this has been an inspiring few days of strategy, discussion, and planning for the fights ahead. So I want to give a hand, before I start off here, to all of our CAP reps for everything you do for this union and this movement. I want to recognize our fantastic CAP staff who have worked so hard to make this event a success. And I want to recognize our International Executive Board for the leadership and for being unified and coming together when we needed to get this union back on track. And most of all, I want to recognize our members across this country in every sector who are the only reason we're here and who are the true leaders of our movement. When I became president of this union just 10 months ago, I promised that we were going to do things differently. I promised that we were going to return to our roots, to pursue economic and social justice, and that we would fight like hell, not just for UAW members, but for the entire working class. And that's exactly what we've done. And that's exactly what we're going to continue to do. With that said, we know there are many outside of this room who doubted our movement, who doubted our strength, and who doubted our resolve. When we went on strike against the Big Three, you'll remember many of the talking heads dismissed our demands as unrealistic. They said workers could never win back cost of living, but we did. They said we couldn't bring back a plant that was scheduled to close, but we did. They said we'd never be able to make EV jobs good jobs. They said we'd never get that work under our master agreements, but we did. They said, there's no way we can end wage tiers. But we did, winning life-changing raises for thousands of members. They said we couldn't bargain for one of our most important groups, our retirees, but we did. Together, we moved mountains. Not since the sit-down strikes of the 30s has there been a union victory on this scale. We were underestimated then, and I'm sure we're going to be underestimated now by the corporate class and their political allies. But the people that matter are with us. 75% of the American people stood with us during the strike. And workers everywhere are standing with us now. They stand up because they know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. And they stand up because we stick to the facts and we tell the truth. During the strike, we shared the fact that the companies had made $250 billion in profit over the last decade. We shared the fact that the CEOs had given themselves a 40% wage increase over 4 years. And we shared the fact that workers had fallen further and further behind. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the American people stand with us because they understand that our movement is fighting for every last working class American. Everything we do as a union must be about taking back our power as a working class. That's what being UAW really means. It means being strategic, clear, and aggressive in our mission to win for workers everywhere. Working class people are hurting. For decades, we've been ignored at best and trampled on at worst. But we are the vast majority of society. We have the numbers and we have the votes. When we stand united, we put fear in the hearts of the billionaire class. And they do what they do best. They try to weaken us by dividing us. It's an old trick the billionaire class plays, and it's effective. Time and time again, the wealthy divide the masses as the rich walk away with all the money. They try to divide us by gender. They try to divide us by nationality. They try to divide us by race. They act like how you live your life, or where you were born, or what color your skin is a threat to the person next to you on your work site. They talk about who you love, where you're from, and how you look. The reason they do that is so they don't have to talk about who you work for, where the profits go, and who benefits. That's what unites us. And that unity is where our power comes from. What we learned in the stand-up strike is if we unite on our issues, if we fight like hell, if we focus on things that matter not just to us, but to the American people, we win. Our stand-up strike wasn't just about one contract. It's about a fight for a living wage. It's about a secure retirement. It was about health care. And it's about taking our time back and taking our lives back. Wages, retirement, health care, and our time. These are the issues that unite the working class. These are the issues that are life or death for the American people. We've got to start looking to the future and making sure that working people, not just the wealthy, are going to be secure. You know, we've heard a lot about a just transition. Advances in technology don't have to lead to plant closings or leave the remaining workers working harder than before. We should be the masters of technology, not let it master us and force us to work even more for less. Management, and behind them, the billionaire class, seek to control our lives, and they seek to control our time. They seek to control our government, and they seek to control our society. You all are here because, given the choice between union solidarity and management domination, you've chosen union. You've chosen solidarity. And you know, I know there's some people that want to ignore this election. They don't want to have anything to do with politics. Other people want to argue endlessly about the latest headline or scandal or stupid quote. Elections aren't about just picking your best friend for the job or the candidate who makes you feel good. Elections are about power. We spent this week talking about our political priorities and where we're going as a union and as a working class. And we've shown in our stand-up strike that we know how to win against the boss. But there's a bigger boss out there. The billionaire class and their backers here in Washington, D.C. That's what we're up against. So we're going to fight like hell for retirement security for the entire working class. We're going to organize and mobilize and make our voices heard. This November, we can stand up and elect someone who stands with us and supports our cause, or we can elect someone who will divide us and fight us every step of the way. That's what this choice is about. The question is, who do we want in that office to give us the best shot of winning? Who gives us the best shot of organizing? Who gives us the best shot of negotiating strong contracts? Who gives us the best shot of uniting the working class and winning our fair share once again? Today, I want to talk about the choice we likely face in the presidential election this year. I don't want to talk to you about who you like, the latest headline, or the Democrats or the Republicans. I want to talk about the track record. I want to talk about the facts. Our stand-up strike captured the imagination of this country because we told the truth about corporate greed. We said what needed to be said, and we talked about the facts that matter to working class people everywhere in the UAW and beyond. So when we talk about this election, let's take a look at the candidates in their own words and their own actions. In 2008, I happened to have a first-class seat as a negotiator during the economic recession. And in 2008, as you well know, the auto industry faced a historic crisis. We were on the edge of total collapse. With entire communities were being devastated. Hundreds of thousands of auto workers' families were left out in the street. It was our members and our retirees who sacrificed everything to save the auto industry. In that moment, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "I think that the unions are really hurting very badly what's going on with the auto industry," end of quote. Joe Biden, having helped save the auto industry, said the nation bet on the American auto workers and won. In 2015, when he was first running for president, Trump went even further. He said the concessions we took weren't enough. He wanted to do a rotation in the auto industry of the jobs in Michigan and the Midwest, so union auto workers would be begging for their jobs back at lower pay. He wanted to put the race to the bottom on steroids to screw the American working class. Also, I love the fire. Love the energy. Also in 2015, we have some workers you saw earlier from Volkswagen. In 2015, people may have forgotten this. We won our first election of a group of skilled trades workers at Volkswagen. And we're still trying to organize there today. And you want to know why? Because, like always, in true fashion, the corporate class and Volkswagen defied the law and they refused to bargain. And they did this for one reason. They were dragging it out as long as they could because they knew that Trump's National Labor Relations Board would undo our victory. That set us back a decade. President Biden, on the other hand, has made changes at the National Labor Relations Board. that have opened new opportunities for organizing. He has vocally supported workers organizing and said at a UAW event, join, organize, picket, protest. You have a right to form a union, and you cannot be stopped. You cannot be intimidated. It matters who runs the National Labor Relations Board. If we're going to grow our union and organize the unorganized and help the working class, we have to have the right people in power. But it's not just about organizing. Let's talk about plant closures. In 2019, at the height of profits, GM closed Lordstown Assembly Plant. And GM is to blame for that decision. But then President Trump stood by and let it happen. Worse, he joined in the beating after telling Lordstown workers, don't sell your houses. What did he do? Trump attacked Brother David Green, who was then president of Local 1112 and is now serving as our Region 2B director. Trump said our union dues were to blame for the plant closure, when we all know it was all about corporate greed. In 2023, Belvidere Assembly Plant was slated for closure by Stellantis. So we fought like hell to do the unthinkable, to save Belvidere and save a community. And with the power of the stand-up strike, we did that. But what I don't want you to forget is we also, in that fight, had the President of the United States by our side every step of the way. Instead of talking trash about our union, Joe Biden stood with us and supported our historic victory to save Belvidere and to save that community. And let's talk about making history. Rarely, as a union, do you get so clear of a choice between two candidates. In 2019, and I want you guys to pay attention to these two slides we're about to show you. In 2019, our members were out there holding the line at GM on a national strike for 40 days. Trump was the sitting president. And I want to show you a picture of what Trump said and what actions he took to help the American auto workers striking at GM when he was president. He said nothing, he did nothing, not a damn thing, because he doesn't care about the American worker. Now here's what Trump did to help the American auto worker in our 2023 historic stand-up strike now that he's running for president. He went to a non-union plant invited by the boss and trashed our union. That's right. And here is what Joe Biden did during our stand-up strike. He heard the call, and he stood up, and he showed up. He joined us in solidarity on the picket line for the first time in our nation's history. A sitting president has ever done that. He said on live national TV that the big three, and I quote, should go further to ensure that record corporate profits mean record contracts for the UAW and the workers. So that's a choice we face. It's not about who you like. It's not about your party. It's not this bullshit about age. It's not about anything but our best shot at taking back power for the working class. UAW, UAW, UAW. Donald Trump is a scab. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and that's who he represents. If Donald Trump ever worked in an auto plant, he wouldn't be a UAW member. He'd be a company man trying to squeeze the American worker. Donald Trump stands against everything we stand for as a union, as a society. When you go back to our core issues, wages, retirement, health care, and our time, that's what this election's about. This election's about who will stand up with us and who will stand in our way. Those are the questions that will win or lose this election and will decide our fate. Those are the questions that will determine the future of our country and the fate of the working class. When I first came into office, we made some headlines by saying that our endorsements would be earned, not freely given. We've said we'd stand with whoever stood with us in our fight. Not because somebody was nice to us and we want to be nice to them, but because we need to know who's going to put up and who's going to shut up. And going even further, we need to know who's going to stand up with us. And this choice is clear. Joe Biden bet on the American worker, while Donald Trump blamed the American worker. We need to know who's going to sit in the most powerful seat in the world and help us win as a united working class. So if our endorsements must be earned, Joe Biden has earned it.
President Biden hitting the picket lines today in Michigan with thousands of United Auto Workers asking for better pay and benefits.
It's very unusual for a president to go to the picket line.
The historic nature of this is lost on no one.
You deserve the significant raise you need. We saved them. It's about time them to step up for us. Thank you.
And it's evident that President Biden's visit here today struck a chord with the labor movement in Michigan and has sent a signal around the country.
Any president that puts their money where their mouth is, he said he'd walk the picket line and he is, and he's walking the walk and talking the talk.
You've heard me say it many times. Wall Street didn't build the country. The middle class built the country. And unions built the middle class.
You previously said this isn't about any president, current or former. You seem to want to keep politics out of it.
The UAW has yet to endorse President Biden's reelection.
So why host President Biden at the picket line today?
We put an invitation out there for people to join us, and the White House responded right away. It was great to see that, and we've never seen it before in the history of this nation. For a sitting president, for the first time in our history, to visit a picket line, I think that goes a long way in showing where he stands with working class people.
Thank you, Mr. President, for coming. UAW family, today I'm proud to stand up here with your International Executive Board and announce that the UAW is endorsing Joe Biden for President of the United States. UAW, UAW, UAW. And I am honored now to invite President Joe Biden to come and address our great union and join us in our fight for economic and social justice for the UAW and the entire working class. So UAW family, let's stand up and welcome the man who stood up for us. Please welcome the current President of the United States. We will re-elect Joe Biden.
Hello, UAW. It's great to be home. One of the best unions in the world. You look out for one another. And the whole country benefits from what you do. You know, please take a seat if you have one. You're tough as they come, starting with your president, Shawn Fain, a leader with backbone, a backbone like a ramrod. I don't know where he is, but he is. Together, we're proving what I've always believed. Wall Street didn't build America. The middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. That's a fact. Look, I kept my commitment to be the most pro-union president ever. I'm proud you have my back. Let me just say I'm honored to have your back and you have mine. That's the deal. It comes down to seeing the world the same way. It's not complicated. You know, my dad, who never went to college, was the smartest, toughest, most gracious man I knew, who managed a car dealership for the bulk of my life, taught me a very important lesson. He'd say, Joey, this is God's truth. A job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about decency. It's about your dignity. It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. And mean it. Folks, that's what the UAW is all about, and it's always been that way. Just after the UAW was founded nearly 90 years ago, it launched what historians call the most important strike in the 20th century. Flint, 1936. Walter Reuther organized a sit-down in the factory. They weren't sure what would happen. They were worried about getting beat up, but they were determined. They were determined. And it took 44 days, but they won the first collective bargaining victory in American history. And the leadership of the UAW spread across the country. It led to the first substantial wage increase in a long time, the first cost of living allowance, the first employer-provided health care. Within 4 years, workers across the entire auto industry unionized, inspiring workers across other industries as well, giving life to new industries in the labor movement. I share that history with you because all of you made history again. I'm confident, and I mean this, 90 years from now, people are going to look back on the impact you had, you in this room. Just like them 90 years ago, you matter now. You lead. And I respect all of you here today who represent unions that always led, always lifted, and always inspired workers. The UAW legacy from Walter Reuther to Shawn Fain today. Shawn, you took a lot of heat, but you demonstrated extraordinary leadership. You did. And that's what I saw a few months ago during your historic UAW strike. The time, this time, in Belleville, Michigan. And I'll say I was so damn proud to stand in that picket line with you. It's not the first UAW picket line I stood in my home state of Delaware. I've done it many times. But it's the first time a president did it, I found out later. I've always fought for a strong auto industry, with UAW-built cars leading the world. This is about a simple proposition. You built these iconic companies. You built GM. You built these companies. You sacrificed to save them in the worst of times. And you deserve to benefit when these companies thrive. As Shawn said, record profits mean record contracts. I'm serious. And that's what you got, record wage increases, winning back cost of living adjustments, greater retirement security, more paid leave, and eliminating tears. Whoa, 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 whoa. You all know my position. I'm tired. I've tried, I'm tired about jobs going overseas, having products shipped to. Look, during the Trump administration, a lot of administrations before that, what'd they do? So many people around America lost their sense of pride. Because whether it was an automobile company or any company at all, if that factory that was there for 30 years, maybe it only had 150 people in it, but it was a part of the community. Guess what? corporate America found the cheapest labor in the world, and they sent the jobs to those laborers and sent the product back to us. But not anymore. We're building product here and shipping it overseas. Buy America and build America. I mean it. And what's really important, you made sure the auto future of the world will be made in America. Oh, I mean it. You know, I'm going to digress just a second. Most people don't know that back in the 30s, when Roosevelt was talking about the value of unions, he didn't just say unions are okay. He said any product that, in fact, the Congress, any money that Congress gives the president to spend to build a product, whether it's an aircraft carrier, an automobile, a tank, or a staircase, no matter what that was, it should be built. For a long time, the Congress would make an appropriation and send it to the president to spend, whether it's building an aircraft carrier or a staircase. And guess what? It was supposed to be built by an American worker with American products. Well, guess what? I'm going back to that. We build in America, we buy American. And here's what you all did. You won commitments from the big three to create thousands of more jobs, to invest tens of billions more dollars, building an auto future made in America. It wasn't just about what you did for the UAW workers. The fact is you've transformed the entire auto industry. That's not yet unionized, or as we call that, the UAW bump. Because of you, Toyota, Volkswagen, Nissan, Tulsa all gave their workers double-digit raises. Because of you. Workers across the country have seen the largest wage increases for workers building cars and trucks and any other transportation equipment in nearly 30 years. Thousands of these workers are already asking to join your union. Even before this, the UAW has been expanding its reach to workers in auto plants and from auto plants to casinos. You can tell I don't spend much time there. But guess what most people don't know? But the UAW represents researchers in higher education and workers. And because of this union, I'm pleased and proud that you expanded the UAW to include 5,000 researchers at the National Institute of Health, UAW workers. I, honest to God, have always believed that the union movement in America is important because it produces the best skilled workers in the world. That's what happens. It's good for everybody. It's good for companies. It increases the quality of the jobs, the quality of the products, and it's good for economic growth. In fact, I asked, which is unusual for a president to do, I asked the Treasury Department to do a significant study, the most comprehensive report ever, detailing how unions are good for all workers, including non-union workers, how they found that unions raise standards across workplaces and industry, improving skills and safety, pushing up wages, strengthening the benefits for everyone. It matters. It matters, it matters. And some in corporate America finally began to figure it out. And look at what we're doing. It's good for workers and companies. Since I took office, we've attracted billions of dollars in investment here in the United States. We supercharged advanced manufacturing, including electric vehicles made by union workers in America. China's determined to dominate that market with EV predominantly made in China and Chinese jobs. The previous administration was content to sit in the sidelines and let China take all these jobs. But I won't let that happen. I will not. That's why I pushed and drafted the CHIPS and Science Act, investing more than $50 billion in manufacturing semiconductors here at home. Automobiles today require 3,000 chips of these chips to be made. That's why my bipartisan infrastructure law is building a network of 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations all across America, installed by your brothers and sisters at the IABW. That's what's doing it. That's why the Inflation Reduction Act, which the other team, not a single person, supported, that I signed into law, dramatically, there's a dramatic incentive for the big three and other auto companies to make it here, their future here in America, with American jobs. Jobs that we want to make union jobs. That's why I announced $12 billion to help companies that respect their workers implement a just transition to electric vehicle future. Because I strongly believe that companies transitioning to new technology should retool, reboot, and rehire in the same factories, in the same communities with comparable wages. And existing union workers should have the first shot at those jobs. As Sean said, I appointed historically pro-union National Labor Relations Board because I don't believe any company should be using threats or tactics to stand in the way of workers' rights to organize, period. And folks, you've been very patient, sitting a long time, but these investments are paying off. Since I came to office, by the way, the last guy said he's hoping for a recession. Because he does not want to be the next Herbert Hoover. He's already Herbert Hoover. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who lost jobs when he was president. Look, since I came to office, with your help, we've created 14 million new jobs. 14 million. Nearly 800,000 manufacturing jobs nationwide. And that means we're creating American jobs and exporting American products instead of the other way around like we saw for too long. Unemployment has been below 4% for the longest stretch in 50 years, and it's going down. Wages are up. Household wealth is up. We have the lowest inflation and fastest recovery of any major economy in the world. We have the fastest growing economy in the world. I know we have more to do, and we're making real progress. Over the last year, prices are down on everyday items from a gallon of gasoline to a gallon of milk. And folks are beginning to feel it. Last week, we saw one of the biggest jumps in how positive consumers are about feeling about their personal circumstance. But we have more work to do. But our plan is delivering for the American people, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. That's what I said I was going to do. That's what I tried to do as a senator and vice president. But because when we do that, the poor have a ladder up and the middle class does well. And the wealthy do well, although they should be paying a hell of a lot more taxes. We all do well. It's called Bidenomics. If you notice, all the major economists who are talking about there's going to be a recession next week, next month, all of a sudden, they're seeing the Lord. I'm a little worried. Some of the major economists in American history are now giving me credit. It's like, oh, God, what's going on? But look, all kidding aside, this is a fundamental break from what used to be called trickle-down economics, and some Democrat presidents did as well as Republican. You know, I sat not a lot trickled down on my dad's kitchen table growing up. There wasn't a lot. The idea was that the wealthy do very well, there'll be a lot left over, and it'll trickle down to ordinary folks. Well, guess what? That trickle-down economy was supercharged by my predecessor. It cut taxes for the very wealthy and the biggest corporations. It shipped good-paying jobs overseas because labor was cheaper. It shrank public investment in infrastructure and education, invested less. It hollowed out entire communities, closing factories. I'm not making this up. You know this to be true. Closing factories, attacking unions, leaving too many Americans behind. In fact, when Donald Trump was in office, 6 auto factories closed around the country. Tens of thousands of auto jobs were lost nationwide during Trump's presidency. During my presidency, we've opened 20 auto factories and more to come. We've created more than 250,000 auto jobs all across America. And while I stood in solidarity with you on the picket line, as your president said, I went on a picket line, Donald Trump went to a non-union shop and attacked you. Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. If I'm going to be in a fight, I want to be in a fight with you, the UAW. With you. No, I mean it. We have a big fight in front of us. We're fundamentally changing the economy of this country. And everybody's getting a little worried about it, the very powerful. Some are seeing the light. But changing the economy, taking it from an economy that takes care of those at the top, and changing an economy that gives people who built this country a fair shot. Again, back to my dad. All anyone wants is just a fair shot. Just a fair shot. An even shot to be able to make it. That's what my economic plan is all about. That's what the UAW is all about. That's what your battle has been about. The days of working people being dealt out of the deal are over in this country as long as I'm president. Working people are going to get their fair share. You've earned it. You fought for it. And you deserve it. So today I want to say to all of you, thank you. Thank you. I could not be more proud or more honored that you've chosen to stand with me. For all the progress we made together, you're the real hero. I want to make it clear, you're the heroes of the story. It's not what I did, it's what the American people standing up with backbone did. You're the reason why. And I mean it sincerely. I'm supposed to be an expert on foreign policy. I've known every major world leader for the past 25 years. And guess what? As I tell every world leader, remind them, whether they're an adversary or an ally, it's never, ever, ever been a good bet to bet against the American people. Never, never, never. And that's been true throughout history, and it's still true today. Because of you. I mean this, because of you, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. We just have to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And I mean this. There's nothing beyond our capacity when we work together. We're the only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis stronger than we went in. So God bless you all, and may God protect our troops, and God bless the American worker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Every time I'd walk out of my grandfather Finnegan's house up in Scranton, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." My grandmother would come to the door and said, "No, Joey, spread it. Let's spread the faith."
Brothers and sisters, are we ready to go back?